We Live in Time is a brand new film. It stars Andrew Garfield and Florence Pugh, pew pew pew, and it is ultimately about a couple and basically their entire life together, from the moment that they met to the moment where they fell in love to the moment where they discovered that she's got stage 3 ovarian cancer, and how they ultimately have to cope with that, how they have to deal with that, especially when it comes down to their roles in life, what they want to do, what they dream about doing, and how cancer can kind of get in the way of those things. Trying to conceive a child, when in all actuality, something like ovarian cancer is going to get in the way of that pretty roughly. But beyond all that, there's not much to the film regarding the plot, the narrative, all of that. Now, the main thing that you probably should know going into the film is the fact that the structure of the film is told out of order, and it's told out of order on purpose. This is a non-linear storytelling type of movie. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. The real question is, does it work here? I think it does in certain regards, and I think at the same time, it kind of doesn't. And the reason why I'm thinking that is it completely depends on who you are as an audience member and what you want out of a film like this. I've seen it argued from one side saying it was a terrible idea to do a non-linear storytelling, and I've seen others state that it was the smartest thing that it could have done given the circumstances, right? You don't want a movie that feels exactly like everything else. You don't want it to feel like Sicklet, where we've all seen cancer stories in the past, cancer love stories even. We've seen it. We've been through those types of movies before. So in a way, the nonlinear storytelling does make it stand out a little bit as original. That being said, the problem that I had with the nonlinear storytelling is that it didn't always grab my attention. Like, this is a heartbreaking story. It's very emotional, right? It is something that wants to weigh on you a little bit and make you feel sad, maybe tear up a little bit. But in my experience, and I understand that I'm not everybody, and this is not going to relate to how everybody else senses emotion and heartbreaking scenes in a film. Me personally, if there is a gradual shift, right, if there's a building of that emotion, then the climax of the heartbreaking stuff, that is when it's going to be the most powerful and the most impactful and the most memorable. But by having it jump all over the place in terms of time periods and everything, there's very little buildup of these emotions, in my opinion. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, some of these scenes definitely work a lot, especially when it comes down to the performances by Andrew Garfield and Florence Pugh, who are both wonderful actors and have showcased their ability to perform in these types of scenarios time and time again. And the same goes here. I just wish it was told in order, because if it were told in order, I would be more of a wreck by the end of the film. So a question kind of comes down to, why did they decide to do non-linear storytelling? There's different reasons on why. I think you can look at it as an artistic choice. I think you can look at it as a gimmick, right? This is how you're going to remember the movie. The non-linear storytelling and the cancer. Me personally, I actually think it has a little bit more to do with thought processes and how our minds jump from memory to memory to memory all over the place in order to stop thinking about your problems that you're having right now. And I think that we all do that, and the film is trying to convey that idea. I can look at that, understand it, and appreciate it, but I don't always get it when I'm watching the movie, because I guess I'm a little bit spoiled. Because when I think about a writer that has the innate ability, genius ability even, to showcase how the human mind operates and how it mysteriously and randomly jumps from point to point to point in order to make sense of the world around you, the only writer that has ever done it real justice, in my opinion, has been Charlie Kaufman. Kaufman is the guy that wrote Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. He also wrote I'm Thinking of Ending Things, Being John Malkovich. He wrote a novel recently called Antkind, which was just a string of consciousness, which was ridiculous, hilarious, but also really relatable to how our minds operate when they don't want to think about stuff. So it's hard for me to compare anybody else trying to do the same thing because nobody's Charlie Kaufman. So instead, what you end up with is a film like this that feels a lot more like, hey, this is a non-linear storytelling type of film. See? See how it's all jumbled? See how it's all over the place? And you're sitting there and you're like, yeah, I can see it. It's hard not to. And unfortunately, it just doesn't grab you the same way a Charlie Kaufman film would. Should I be comparing the two that have absolutely nothing to do with each other? Absolutely not. But I can't help myself. Overall, We Live in Time is such an interesting film. It's an emotional film. I think that a lot of people will relate with it. I do believe a lot of people will watch it and tear up at certain moments. Performances are strong. The cinematography is bold and it captures exactly what it wants to capture, the way that it intends to capture it. Some of the scenes are incredibly authentic for what it's worth. I just don't think that it is as good as it wants to be. I'm going to be giving this a B- letter grade, which means to me, it's an entertaining film for what it's worth. I expected a little bit more. It did a great job regardless. And I recommend it to you to check out if at least once, because I think that there's a lot there that's worth watching in general. And again, I'm just me. You might love it for everything that it does. But let me know, let me know in the comments down below. Did you watch We Live in Time? Are you a fan of this film? Are you a fan of the nonlinear storytelling that it does? Let me know. And as for YouTube, you guys know what to do. Hit the like, subscribe button, and bell to be notified when I come out with my next review, whenever and whatever that may be on. And until then, peace out.